Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a walk around of my drift car. I guess you'd call it more of a missile car because, well, it's shitty, but here it is. It's a 99 or 2000, I forget, I honestly don't care. Mustang. It originally was a V6 car, automatic, super shitty. Kid's car with all the stickers and stuff, but now it's got a 302. 5-speed, you know, nothing fancy, but it's got the JDM pocket flares. They actually work surprisingly well when you put them on backwards. The front's on the rear and the rear's on the front. They actually fit crazily well. Front tires are a Maxxis 245/15. They are ridiculously sticky. I love these fucking things. Only downside is they're 22 inches high, so they're not for big cars. But I use them anyways. Walking around the back, she's beat up, but that's what a missile car is for. Exhaust pipes out the side, as you need to. Smoked headlights that are pretty terrible. You know, typical kids fashion. All right. Okay. As you guys can tell, this is a 302. The car used to be a V6 automatic car, so had to try to stuff it in here. The K-member isn't quite right, but modifying some motor mounts, I made it work. This is a Durspark distributor, and instead of using a Durspark box, I got an MSD box, a 6AL, mainly for the rev limiter, but it works. Seems to work pretty well. Otherwise, it's pretty much the setup for a Fox body Mustang. It's a T5, it's nothing too spectacular. The motor has 280 some thousand on it, but I threw a big cam in it so she chops. Makes it real nice. For our drifting, we have to have fluid socks over any fluid reservoir. So over the breather, over the power steering, and over the brakes, I have rags tied. I still have the heat hooked up because, well, it's Minnesota and it's nice having heat. The 3.8 electric fan for the V6 is onto a Fox body radiator. It actually keeps it very cool. I have more trouble with fuel in the carburetor getting hot than I do engine water. So as far as that goes, works pretty well. My lovely homemade battery tray. No battery in it at the moment, but it holds it down and it works quite well. So, and the air cleaner sticks out through the little bitty hood scoop. So, alright, let's move on to the inside. The inside is, well, stocker than piss. I am going to need to pull some of this stuff out, you know, for lightness and, well, fire hazards, but it is what it is. The gauge cluster, nothing works, so I have a piece of tape covering over most of the warning lights. As you can see, I got a eBay handbrake, the T5 shifter just coming up through the floor, and then my starter button and ignition switch. Our drifting also requires a fire extinguisher, so I mounted that right there. Nice, easy peasy. So far, I do not have a cage, I do not have harnesses, I do not have racing seats. This is also a Fox body pedal set. They do not fit perfectly into a new edge like this car is, but with modifications, it works. So far, the front suspension mods are just cut tie rods for extra angle, and then spacers to make these wheels fit. They sit way too far out because they're the wrong offset, but you use what you have when you're not trying to not spend any money. The rear end is the stock rear end out of this car that's been welded up, but it's a 7.5 because it's a V6 car. It's not the stronger 8.8. So far it's been holding up. Some people have been scared of it. It's gonna blow, it's just wind. But it's a stock 7.5. Suspension on the back is lower control arms are tubed in poly bushings with stock uppers. Seems to work all right. And the springs are cut T-bird springs. The T-birds have a lot stronger or heavier spring rates, so they're just cut to get the ride height down from a truck. It's still plenty high, but it is what it is. All right, let's pop the trunk and show you where my real stupidity lies. Because this was a V6 and, well, a 2000 model, it had EFI. So the fuel pump in the tank is high pressure. And rather than trying to just run a regulator up front and really heat the fuel by returning it all back and causing all those problems, I decided it'd be much easier and better to install a surge tank. These tanks are notorious for sloshing really bad, especially in drift. All the fuel will go to one side and it'll starve the pump. Well, I didn't want that to happen. On my other car it happens all the time, so here's a surge tank. What I'm doing here is the stock fuel pump in the tank fills this tank. It continually runs, it fills this tank, and any excess bleeds back to the tank. Okay, well, since this tank is not pressurized and it has a return, it's just a fill tank. It has about 1.5 gallons of fuel at all times. Okay, with that, I'm running through a filter to a $20 Amazon pump that runs 6 to 9 psi for the carburetor, and I have that out running underneath the car through the factory fuel line up to the front of the car and to the carburetor. This setup looks really redneck, and well, pretty much is, but it works pretty good. So far I haven't had any fuel starvation issues due to the fuel, so it works all right. Most classes make me have a firewall between the cabin and this. I haven't installed that yet. I need to. It's on the list. There you have it, guys. This is my drift car. It's low buck. It's mainly just work and what parts I've had laying around. So it may not be pretty and it may not be 1,000 horsepower, but I also have about $350 in it. So that makes up for a lot. Cheap fun is always the best fun. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and you take care.